Hello everyone, my name is Dezzy. The Holy Nation. They've been our great adversaries since the start of this series. We've worked long and hard to eradicate them from the moon of Kenshi, winning many battles and suffering many injuries. Also losing Silvershade, rest in peace. Now is the time. Time to storm the final strongholds of the Holy Phoenix and end this war for good. Welcome back to Kenshi. But first, before we get into all that cinematic story stuff, I went to go fight another group that wasn't the Holy Nation. Fighting paladins was getting a little boring, and my troops needed some new enemies to face off against. So, we found a group of bandits called the Skeleton Bandits, a group of skeletons who are definitely skeletons and not crazy humans at all. These guys are led by a person named Elder, who has a very fancy saber that I was planning to give to Knife since I changed her from being a polearms user to a saber user. Now, before I tell you the great story about the Sun Squad versus the insane human skeleton bandits, we have a few new recruits. Introducing to you all Burn and Shrike, two named characters I'm sure you're all very familiar with. And for those of you wondering why Burn is so freaking tall and buff, it's just because I thought it looked really, really cool, and having a giant skeleton running with us, I think, looks awesome. So that's why Burn is the size of a small house in my playthrough. Burn is an ex-adventurer who's ready for one last journey, and Shrike is a sly lady who's had a few run-ins with, unsavory types. They both hopped onto our Sun Squad and follow us to go fight the skeleton bandits. This would be a good way to get some practice in for everyone, and would break up the monotony of fighting the same paladins over and over and over again. So I was pretty excited for this. When we got there, to my surprise, this battle was actually hard and difficult. The skeleton bandits have really good equipment, way better than the Holy Nation, which is just really funny to me. All these guys had high quality sabers, armor, combat stats. They also all wore chainmail, so they were surprisingly tanky and dealt a surprising amount of damage, making me seriously wonder how the hell the Holy Nation has survived so long off of rusting paladin crosses and shoddy holy armor. I guess that awkward might just makes them built different. Shrike, being the newest member with her little baby combat stats, got the snot beaten out of her, but the rest of the group got to killing while Shrike limped around with a broken leg. We had to actually take breathers and healing breaks since this was a pretty sloppy fight on my end. You see, I was so used to turning my brain off fighting the paladins, like during the Holy Stronghold bases and during the attack of Bad Teeth, I was just not thinking at all. I just had my brain switch flipped off. So fighting these guys and actually having to micromanage was a little bit surprising, but it was very welcome. I had Rayuni run into the base and pull out Elder and all of his elite skeleton bandit guards. He ran in a circle for a little bit until the rest of the Sun Squad was ready to go, and then we clashed with the skeleton bandits on top of a hill. And it was a pretty good fight, and after a couple good jabs, we defeated Elder, and Knife got a new shiny sword. Everyone performed very well in this fight. Again, Ruka and Hamut killing it as usual. Beep and Black Sheep doing very well. Knife was doing surprisingly good. It seems like only yesterday she was getting the shit kicked out of her at Bad Teeth, but now she's come a long way, and she's doing very, very well. And now she's got a brand new sword, so hey, that's pretty awesome. After murdering the local skeleton population, we went back to base and took care of some Dust Bandit squatters before we got to work planning our next move against the Holy Nation. Next, we were going to hit Rebirth. Rebirth is the giant super mine that the Holy Nation has, where they force people to mine minerals for their war efforts. This is definitely not slavery, because you see they're reforming and rebirthing these sinful people in the name of Ocarina. It's definitely not slavery. These people are definitely not held here against their will. I'm definitely going to put in parentheses satire over this entire stupid joke. Anyways, we were going to go to Rebirth next, but I wanted some more troops for the Sun Squad. You see, that whole mindset I had in the first video where I was like, oh, this is too many people to micromanage. This is too hard. I need to disband a bunch of people. Yeah, that was stupid. I want as many badasses as possible in the Sun Squad. So I immediately sent out Rayuni to go find some new meat. In Squin, Rayuni found a tall Shek woman named Rain the Giant and recruited her to our cause. I was going to make Rain a new type of soldier. You see, off camera, I went to the Crab Raiders and forged an alliance with them, and bought a cute little crab named Fluffy. Look how cute he is, isn't he such a good boy? But more importantly, they gave me the crafting recipes for crab armor. Rain was going to be a designated tank soldier, as crab armor has some of the best protection in the game at the cost of combat speed and dexterity. So I began training Rain, but I wanted a second designated tank soldier, just to make sure Rain doesn't take too much of the damage. So I looked around and realized something. You all remember Kang, right? He was the Shek leader in my first video who led the weaker troops in the fight against Stack. Well, he had really good combat stats, and he was low-key a sleeper heavy hitter for the New Sun Empire. He always seemed to really pull his weight during base assaults. So, Rayuni asked Kang if he'd like to officially join the Sun Squad, and he said yes instantly. So, Kang went ahead and left the workers to join the Sun Squad. He immediately went to go meet up with Rain so they can continue training, and I had Kat craft up some spanking new crab armor. After a couple of hours of grinding our next skeleton beat-up buddy, I forget if this one dies. He probably did. He probably did die. Knowing me, all of my skeleton training dummies fucking die off camera. We had 2 tanks ready to go. Rain and Shrike didn't have their Super Giga Chad Sun Squad cybernetic upgrades yet, so they were still kind of amateurs when it came to actual battle, but they were ready and they were eager. And with the Battle of Rebirth, this would prove if they deserved their cybernetic enhancements. Also, I upgraded Burn and Agnew with new limbs, as I realized you could put skeletons in the devastating mental trauma machine too. So I gave them lifter arms for their falling sons. The Sun Squad gathered once again, and just look at how big this group has gotten. Each of these members is such an iconic character in my role-playing mind now. I've legit written personalities and backstories for all of them on the side. Obviously, none of it's canon for the actual named characters, but goddammit if I can't roleplay my own version of Ruka and Beep. I even wrote down lore on how all the different Sun Squad members interact with each other. I am absolutely obsessed with my fake virtual Kenshi characters. So obsessed that I've written lore about all of them. And this is just male autism. This is the secret sauce of why this game is so much fun. Running out of the gates into the wilds, we made our way to Rebirth. And I think you can guess what happens next. Play that combat music. This battle was easy. Oh my god, it was so easy. I was so shocked by how tough the skeleton bandits were. I over-prepared my guys to take on Rebirth, forgetting the Holy Paladins are basically just fucking pushovers at this stage of the game. We decimated this place, and Knife was going crazy with her new saber. Like, she was the MVP of this fight. She was just eviscerating everything with her new saber. I swear to God, I don't think I got it all on camera, but she racked up like 5 to 8 kills just by herself in this fight alone. She was also doing great against the Skeleton Bandits. I'm calling it now. Knife is going to be up there with Ruka and Hamut. She has just been putting in work these last couple fights. I am so proud of my fake virtual Kenshi characters. Rain also did a great job for her first battle. She was taking hits like a fucking champion in that crab armor. Ryuni took to freeing all of the prisoners, some of them not choosing to leave, but you know, with the horrible mental torture I'm sure the Holy Nation puts you through, I'd be a little hesitant to leave Rebirth as well. There's really not that much to say about the fight at Rebirth. Black Sheep like 1v1 the High Inquisitor himself and just won. Everyone just kind of slaughtered everything. Yeah, we just won. Yep, Rebirth is ours. And it was really funny because, like I said in the last video, I upped the enemy spawn rate, and I think it took effect for the Skeleton Bandits. But even with the increased enemy squad size, there just wasn't enough Paladins to actually put a dent into our ranks. So we left after another lackluster victory against the Holy Nation, and we let Maul and the Flotsam Ninjas move in and take the place for their own. After Rebirth, the Sun Squad kind of split up and went on little side quests in between Holy Nation fights. Rain and Shrike got their brand new limbs and lasting mental trauma. Beep and Black Sheep fucking anime tag teamed an entire invasion of Dust Bandits, which was probably a highlight of the week. Sad Neil went out to find some brand new workers since we lost Kang, and you know, we needed some fresh meat to make sure that all of the farms and turrets were being manned. So we got some new recruits. Knife went to go get her hair dyed a different color because both her and Shrike had the exact same hair color and they were wearing the exact same gas masks, and it was making it a little difficult to tell who was who in the thick of battle because I'm illiterate and I just can't read their names. So I gave Knife some very nice blue hair, which I think goes very well with her. Ryuni went to the Ashlands to steal another training dummy because I keep getting them killed. These poor skeletons. I promise this one won't die, guys. And Burn got very connected to the new pet crab, Fluffy. With Rebirth out of the way, there was one final Holy Nation stronghold to destroy before we went to Blister Hill. Okran's Fist. This would make up for us getting cock-blocked from destroying Okran's shield. Okran's Fist was the second massive military stronghold of the Holy Nation, and it was primarily built to keep the cannibals out of the Holy Land. But its time was done. You know the drill. We rounded everyone up and we went to Okran's Fist. This journey was long, mainly just because we ran into like 3 Holy Nation patrols. I guess they were just really throwing everything they had at us to try and save their skins. Once we got to Okran's Fist, we took a quick breather, taking in this impressive fortress. Ryuni snuck up to the front gates and showed everyone why he's the group's assassin. And then I went in and everyone began to kill the opposition. And again, this fight was easy. Some highlights of this fight was Black Sheep running into the barracks all by himself trying to solo 5 high paladins. I mean, you know, Black Sheep's a talented swordsman, but he's not that fucking good. Agnew soloing the High Inquisitor, and Ryuni killing paladins so quickly I couldn't keep the camera focused on him because he kept running off screen to go kill someone else. But yeah, go ahead and roll that next combat music. Please go ahead and play some more fancy combat music as we kill more paladins. And I just gotta say, all right, after this battle, it took me a minute to notice, but I know that Beep is a lovable meme character, you know, he's just a silly little guy. But with the animation overhaul mod I have installed, he fucks shit up with that heavy polearm. Beep is so strong because he has this AoE spin move, and I've seen this little hive drone knock out like 4 paladins with one like anime swing of his heavy polearm. It's ridiculous. Good job, Beep. You are surprisingly dangerous. Like, it's so unassuming. You wouldn't expect this little thing to be such a menace when it came to battle. The fight was simple. The Inquisitor was ours. We went back home, threw the Inquisitor into a cell, yada yada yada, same old routine, wash your hands, we're going on to the next thing. Now, before we went to Blister Hill, I wanted one last addition to our Sun Squad. We added another worker who fought in the first Battle of Stack, a Shek woman named Luce. You may all remember Luce. She was, in the first video, she was there during the fight of Stack. You probably saw her in the background. She was a very unassuming kind of side character, but Luce was actually the second recruit I found when making the first military. She was in the same bar as Kang, and in my roleplay, these two were actually good friends, and both wronged by the Holy Nation in one way or another. So, if Kang was a full-on member of the Sun Squad, it only made sense for Luce to join us as well. I did a couple days of doing smaller tasks. I trained Luce up a little bit just so she was a little bit more prepped to take on the Holy Nation. But nothing too crazy. Here's just a brief little recap of stuff that we did around the base. Nothing that was worth filming. And after all this downtime, I knew we were ready. The capital of the Holy Nation, Blister Hill. It was time. Time to take down Holy Lord Phoenix. This was the day everyone in New Sun has been waiting for. And with Rayuni returning with a squad of Sheks to help fight, we gathered up and headed out of the city. I've played Kenshi for a little bit before this series. I think I had roughly around 70 to 80 hours before I actually began this Let's Play, which seeing my hours now means that I've sunk in 120 hours into this game in like a month. Yeah, I need to go outside more. But I've never done something so cool with it. Nothing quite like this. Crafting my own backstory for these characters and fully role-playing the takedown of a rival faction was a lot of fun. A lot was riding on this battle. Not only the series that we've done for YouTube, but also just these characters' personal stories in my mind. Everyone in the Sun Squad I wrote to have some kind of beef or personal trauma with the Holy Nation. And this fight would finally set all of their worries and fears to rest. Holy Lord Phoenix, we are coming for you, and we bring war. We stormed the gates, slaughtering the paladins that opposed us. The battle at first was easy, but once we got to the Phoenix's stronghold, it got dicey. The barracks were full of high paladins and inquisitors. This was the main branch of their fighting force. My soldiers getting stuck in with the holy devils. The Sheks, for some reason, decided not to follow us deeper into the city. I guess they just wanted to, bully up the holy sentinels at the gates, so we were on our own. I tried to make this as cinematic as possible, taking cinematic shots, but I needed to make sure I was micromanaging well, as I needed my soldiers as healthy as possible to face off against the Phoenix. One of my favorite parts about this game is how battles play out. There is so much to look at, since each character gets involved in their own personal fight. You can see Knife soloing a high paladin, a large portion of the team fighting an inquisitor, and the rest of the group running upstairs to take out some paladins. This game does a great job at making fights look intense and visually interesting. After we finished off the paladins inside the barracks, we healed ourselves up and prepared to fight the final boss. Rayuni moved inside the throne room, and there he was. The man, the myth, the terror, Holy Lord Phoenix. This was the first time I've ever seen him during this playthrough. He was surrounded by a cohort of high paladins and his personal bodyguard, the Protector of the Flame. This guy was arguably more dangerous than the Phoenix himself, with insane combat stats that were better than even the Holy Lords. I sucked down my fear as I moved Rayuni to try and knock out one of the paladins. Anything to make this job easier. Rayuni got one knockout before he was spotted. No surprise there, I was shocked he was even able to disarm one paladin. Rayuni ran out to the rest of the boys and girls, and we tried to run back to get the Shek's help, but the paladins cut us off. The sound of clashing blades and pain screams rang out as the Sun Squad got bloodied and bruised against the elite paladins. The Holy Lord was not a pushover. He was swinging his paladin's cross around in ways I've never even seen before, immediately smashing Burn and Black Sheep to death's door. You know, for all the bullshit talk I said about all the paladins being pushovers, the Holy Lord, he was not a pushover. This man was dangerous. Beep and Rayuni were already knocked out within the first 8 seconds of the fight, and my tankier troops were already looking rather beat up. I was micromanaging hard, making Hamut reinforce his friends in the fight against the Phoenix, and thank God I did, because Hamut was holding his own against the Phoenix, which was very surprising, and also just a super cool mental image. I mean, like, the cinematic stuff writes itself. Like, just imagine Hamut and the High Lord Phoenix fighting each other. Super cool. Black Sheep unfortunately got his lights knocked out, right as Kang and Rain also came down to help with the fight. Luce was the next one to go out. Honestly, I'm surprised she lasted so long without any cybernetics. I didn't even know where the Protector of the Flame was because I was so focused on the main fight with the Phoenix. But looking back on the footage, it looks like Ruka was legit 1v1ing the Protector for a solid minute until Agnew and Shrike came in to help her. Yeah, I know, Ruka was fucking 1v1ing the Protector of the Flame, and she was kind of winning. Don't tell anyone this, but Ruka is my favorite member of the Sun Squad. Holy shit, this woman is 1v1ing the Protector of the Flame. It was a long fight. One where we got immensely fucked up, but by the skin of our teeth and a nice little swing from Rain the Giant, Holy Lord Phoenix fell. We had victory. We cleaned up the scraps of the Holy Lord's forces and tended to our wounded. Also, first aiding the Holy Lord to make sure he didn't die quite yet. We moved into the throne room, and in one final act of humiliation for the Holy Nation, I made Rayuni sit on the throne. Blister Hill was ours. There was the question of who gets the Phoenix's weapon. It was a May 2 Paladin's Cross, which is already a really good weapon, but there was a lot of emotional weight around who gets this guy's sword. And the answer was obvious. Not only was Seto using a Paladin's Cross for the longest time, making her an expert on how to use it, but how fitting that the daughter of the Shek Queen would be the one to take the Holy Dog's blessed weapon. There you go, Seto. A new shiny sword for you. It couldn't be more perfect. The daughter of Asada the Stone Golem gets the sword of the Holy Lord Phoenix. This shit fucking writes itself. Little side note, while this battle was happening, I tried to do a cheeky little tactic where Beep dropped a skeleton general named Zhang inside the Holy Nation to try and attack some of the troops. But I forgot whenever you kidnap dudes, they just play dead until all the enemies leave. So Zhang just laid there and did nothing. So my plan of having a super strong skeleton try and take out some paladins didn't work. So in frustration, Beep just ripped out his CPU brain. Yeah, Beep just pulled this dude's brain out because he wasn't doing what we told him. I seriously wonder why Sad Neil, Burn, and Agnew haven't left the fucking Sun Squad yet with how we've been treating their species. Now, what do we do with Mr. Phoenix? We could kill him, make him meet the same fate as the High Inquisitors. But I had another idea. The Phoenix was a tyrant, masking his cruelty and fascism with the lies of God in a holy light. He had made many suffer, gaslighting so many into believing that they were worse than scum for reasons that were not their fault. He was an evil, evil man, and honestly, I think the wiki says he was even the most brutal of all the Phoenixes. So, this dude's a real piece of shit scumbag. He needed to answer for his actions, and the people who he wronged would decide his fate. I went to the Flotsam Ninjas, and now the outcasted men and women could decide what to do with the Holy Lord Phoenix. Don't worry, Mr. Holy Lord, I'm sure Maul will take very good care of you. He's all yours, girl. Do with him what you please. Blister Hill became the first major city of the Flotsam Ninjas, and we went back home to celebrate. Asada the Stone Golem, along with the Shek Kingdom, congratulated us on our great victory, and my little roleplay brain, said that the Sheks and the Ninjas formed a non-aggression pact, working together to kill off the last of the Holy Nation Paladins, Fogmen, and Cannibals. Rayuni looked out at his great kingdom, his friends reveling in victory over the Holy Nation. We had won, and now so many people were free. But this wasn't the end of Rayuni, or New Sun's story. The remnants of the Holy Nation were still at work to try and reclaim their Holy Land, and there was a new opponent on the horizon in the deep sands of the Great Desert. Thank you so much for watching this Kenshi video. I really enjoyed this one. This was so much fun to record, so much fun to roleplay. I have 2 video ideas coming out next. Next main video will be a non-Kenshi video. I'm not sure what game we're gonna play next, but it'll probably be something fun. And I also wanted to do a little kind of in-between video, talking about each member of the Sun Squad and their backstories and roleplays. Not a main series Kenshi video, this will just be more of a side project for you all to listen to, but those are going to be the next 2 videos, a non-Kenshi video and a Kenshi Sun Squad lore video. So those will be coming out decently soon, and then after that, we'll be back on the main Kenshi storyline. But thank you guys all so much for watching. Thank you for the support, as always. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you all next time.